Why highly intelligent people struggle with love and relationships. If you're reading this, there's a good chance you felt profoundly alone, even when surrounded by people, struggled to find someone who truly understands you, or watched less intelligent people form relationships easily while you remain isolated. You might have been told you're too analytical, too picky, too intense, or that you overthink everything when it comes to love and connection. And here's what research shows. You're not imagining this pattern, and your not broken high intelligence genuinely creates specific psychological challenges in forming romantic relationships. Welcome back to Psychology with Sergiu Popovici, where we explore the science behind human behavior and what it means for your life. Today we're examining something rarely discussed but experienced by millions. Why exceptional intelligence often comes with exceptional loneliness and relationship difficulty. By the end of this video, you'll understand the psychological mechanisms behind this pattern and, more importantly, what you can do about it. Let's start with the data that most people find surprising. Research consistently shows an inverse relationship between intelligence and relationship satisfaction. A study published in Intelligence Journal found that people with IQs above 130 report significantly higher rates of singleness, later first relationships, and greater difficulty maintaining long-term partnerships. This isn't because intelligent people are socially incompetent. The correlation actually reverses at extremely high intelligence levels, where social skills become more sophisticated. The challenge exists in a specific range where you're intelligent enough to see through social games, but not yet skilled enough to navigate them effortlessly. Psychologist Abraham Maslow noted this pattern decades ago, observing that highly intelligent individuals often experienced what he called divine discontent, an inability to find satisfaction in relationships that don't meet their complex needs. Now let's talk about the first major mechanism, the statistics of rarity and the mathematics of compatible connection. If your IQ is above 130, you represent roughly 2% of the population, and potential romantic partners need to come from an even smaller subset of that 2% based on age, location, mutual attraction, and availability. Research by psychologist Joanne Cantor on cognitive compatibility shows that people generally form satisfying relationships with partners within about 15 IQ points of their own level. When you're significantly more intelligent than average, your pool of cognitively compatible partners shrinks dramatically, and the probability of encountering them in daily life becomes vanishingly small. This isn't elitism or pickiness. It's a statistical reality that creates genuine isolation. A study in personality and individual differences found that intelligent people report feeling fundamentally different from most people they encounter, creating a persistent sense of not belonging. The second mechanism is what researchers call analysis paralysis in emotional contexts. Psychologist Daniel Kahneman's research on thinking systems is relevant. Here, intelligent people tend to over-rely on System 2 thinking, which is analytical and deliberate, even in situations where System 1, intuitive and emotional thinking, would be more appropriate. In relationships, this manifests as overthinking every interaction, analyzing potential partners like logic problems, and intellectualizing emotions rather than simply feeling and responding to them. Research shows that this cognitive style, while advantageous in many domains, interferes with the spontaneous emotional vulnerability that relationships require. A study in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships found that people who score high on need for cognition, the tendency to engage in and enjoy thinking, report lower relationship satisfaction because they struggle to turn off analysis and simply be present emotionally. They're so busy analyzing whether they should feel something that they never fully experience actually feeling it. The third mechanism involves what psychologists call existential isolation, the profound loneliness that comes from perceiving reality in ways most people don't. Research by psychologist Irvin Yalom shows that highly intelligent people often experience existential concerns, questions about meaning, mortality, freedom, and isolation more intensely and earlier than average. When you're pondering existential questions, and most people around you are discussing surface-level topics, genuine connection becomes nearly impossible. You're not being pretentious when small talk feels unbearable. You're experiencing the isolation of having a mind that naturally operates at a different level of abstraction. A study in Intelligence Journal found that highly intelligent people show increased activity in brain regions associated with abstract thinking and decreased activity in regions associated with social cognition during social interactions. Their brains are literally wired to analyze rather than simply connect. The fourth mechanism is what researchers call asynchronous development, when different aspects of your development proceed at different rates. Linda Silverman's research on gifted individuals shows that high intelligence often coincides with emotional intensity, but not necessarily emotional maturity. You might be intellectually brilliant, but emotionally processing relationships with the tools of someone much younger, creating patterns of intensity, idealization, and disappointment. You feel emotions more deeply than most people, but lack the framework to understand or communicate them effectively, creating relationship chaos. Research shows that intelligent people often experience what's called overexcitability, heightened responses to stimuli that make emotional experiences overwhelming. The fifth mechanism involves the curse of seeing multiple perspectives simultaneously. Research on cognitive complexity shows that intelligent people naturally consider many viewpoints, possibilities, and outcomes simultaneously. In relationships, this means seeing not just who your partner is now, but all the ways they could change, all the potential problems, all the alternate futures. This isn't paranoia. It's cognitive pattern recognition applied to human behavior. But it makes commitment terrifying because you see all the ways it could fail. A study in Personal Relationships Journal found that people high in cognitive complexity reported more relationship anxiety despite having objectively better relationship skills. They couldn't enjoy the present because they were simultaneously processing past patterns and future possibilities. The sixth mechanism is what I call the authenticity trap. Highly intelligent people often refuse to compromise their authentic selves for social acceptance. Research shows that intelligent people value authenticity and intellectual honesty more than social harmony, making them unwilling to engage in the small deceptions and social performances that lubricate most relationships. You'd rather be alone than fake interest in things that bore you, rather be single than pretend to be someone you're not. This integrity is admirable, but creates profound isolation when most people are comfortable with some level of social performance. The seventh mechanism involves what researchers call intensification of standards. As intelligence increases, so do expectations for partners. Research in evolution and human behavior shows that intelligent people don't just want partners who meet basic criteria. They want intellectual equals who can engage in complex discussions, understand nuanced ideas, and match their cognitive pace. This isn't shallow research. Shows that intellectual compatibility is a strong predictor of long-term relationship satisfaction. But when you require both intellectual stimulation and emotional connection, physical attraction, shared values, and compatible life goals, you've created criteria that few people can meet. The eighth mechanism is delayed social development. Highly intelligent people often skip normal social developmental stages. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's research on talented individuals shows that they often spend adolescence and early adulthood developing their minds while peers are developing social and romantic skills. By the time you're ready for relationships, you're intellectually advanced but romantically inexperienced, creating awkwardness and missed opportunities. You're trying to learn relationship skills at 30 that most people learned at 16, but with adult stakes and less forgiveness for mistakes. Now let's talk about the gender-specific manifestations of this pattern, because research shows significant differences. Studies show that highly intelligent men often struggle with what researchers call provider anxiety. They intellectualize relationships as problems to solve rather than experiences to share. They create elaborate theories about attraction and compatibility, but miss emotional cues and struggle with vulnerability. Research shows intelligent men sometimes use their intelligence defensively, creating intellectual barriers to protect against emotional risk. Highly intelligent women face different challenges according to research in Psychology of Women Quarterly. Studies show they often experience pressure to dumb down to be romantically acceptable, face stereotypes about being threatening or unfeminine, and struggle to find men who aren't intimidated by their intelligence. Research shows that many intelligent women report consciously hiding their capabilities early in relationships to avoid seeming intimidating. Now here's what's particularly painful about this pattern. Watching less intelligent people form seemingly effortless relationships while you remain alone. Research offers an explanation. Lower cognitive complexity often correlates with greater relationship satisfaction because people simply don't see all the potential problems. They're not ignorant of issues. They just don't process multiple layers of meaning and future implications simultaneously. What looks like relationship success might actually be relationship unawareness, but that doesn't make your loneliness less real. Let's talk about what research shows actually helps intelligent people form successful relationships. First, seek cognitive equals deliberately, rather than hoping to randomly encounter them. Research shows that intelligent people need to actively create opportunities for connection with other intelligent people through specialized communities, advanced education settings, or interest-based groups. Dating apps and random social situations are statistically unlikely to yield compatible partners when you're looking for rare traits. Second, develop emotional intelligence intentionally. It doesn't come automatically with cognitive intelligence. Research by psychologist Daniel Goleman shows that emotional intelligence is a separate skill set that requires deliberate practice. Learn to identify and communicate emotions, practice vulnerability, and develop comfort with emotional ambiguity. Third, accept that intellectual connection might develop over time rather than being immediately apparent. Research shows that intelligent people often dismiss potential partners too quickly because initial conversations don't meet their standards. Someone might be intellectually compatible, but not reveal it in surface-level early interactions. Fourth, practice analytical detachment, the skill of observing your overthinking without letting it control your behavior. Research in metacognition shows that recognizing when you're overanalyzing allows you to choose different responses. You can't stop your brain from analyzing, but you can choose not to let analysis prevent action. Fifth, find communities where your way of thinking is normal rather than exceptional. Research shows that intelligent people thrive in environments where their cognitive style is the norm rather than the exception. Online communities, professional organizations, academic settings, or specialized interest groups can provide this. Sixth, consider that some loneliness comes from existential awareness rather than relationship deficits. Research by existential psychologists shows that some isolation is inherent to consciousness itself. Having a partner won't eliminate existential loneliness that requires accepting the fundamental aloneness of subjective experience. Seventh, develop the ability to find meaning in solitude rather than viewing it as a problem to solve. Research shows that intelligent people often prefer solitude when the alternative is superficial connection. This isn't pathology, it's preference, and learning to embrace it reduces the desperation that repels potential partners. Before we close, I want to address something important. This video isn't justification for giving up on relationships or confirmation that you're doomed to loneliness. It's explanation without excuse understanding why intelligence creates relationship challenges while taking responsibility for developing the skills to overcome them. Research shows that highly intelligent people can form deeply satisfying relationships when they understand their own patterns and actively develop emotional alongside cognitive intelligence. The path is harder, the pool smaller, the timeline longer, but the outcome can be more profound because intelligent people bring depth, loyalty, and genuine understanding to relationships. If you're highly intelligent and struggling with loneliness or relationship patterns, you're not alone, you're not broken, and with the right support, you can develop the skills to form the connections you need. I offer psychological consultation services in Munich, Germany, and work specifically with people navigating these challenges. Thank you for watching Psychology with Sergiu Popovici. If this video resonated with you, please subscribe and share it with someone who might be feeling this same profound loneliness. You're not as alone as you think you are.